Hello everyone. So I told you that I would do this Moloch programming, and I did a video ahead of this to let you know who Moloch was. You probably already knew, but I just wanted to throw that in there. And again, everybody, just keep an open mind. Like I said, a closed off mind is closed off information. I do believe in the spirit world. Do I believe in reptilians? I don't know. Do I believe in archons? Yeah, because that's in the Nag Hammadi texts. But I'm going to go ahead and read this. And again, just keep an open mind. It's called the Time Shift blog, Moloch Programming. In the Guardian use of the term, Moloch is used to describe receptacles on the astral plane that operate as battery tanks for harvested loosh. And loosh is, Kanigan talks about this. You should go check out his channel. He's great. But loosh is when you're torturing and sacrificing animals or humans, and it's the negative energy that is absorbed by negative entities in the astral plane. Okay? Okay. Which is generally sexual in nature. That's like how they feed, is from negative energy, is the loosh. Okay? Moloch tanks are used by the NAA, and that is Negative Alien Agenda, NAA. I had to look that up because I've never heard of Moloch programming. So let me start this over. Moloch tanks are used by the NAA forces to collect and store human sexual energy as a battery source. Generally, the tanks are more specialized as sourcing from the conscious bodies of molested children, which is the real purpose that is behind the promotion of legalizing pedophilic practices. Large amounts of sexual energy is harvested from sexual ritual or blood sacrifice, ritual killing, in order to direct that collective energetic force from the victims for the purpose of widespread satanic ritual abuse carried out by black magicians, which is designed for the purpose of gaining control over others' perceptions and influencing the direction of the planetary timelines towards serving the negative controller agenda. The process of stealing consciousness energy from many people who were unaware that they are being used in this way is to gain control over others' minds and perceptions of the outer reality, and this is called sorcery or black magic. The power elite are a small group of people who conjure an assortment of black magic through dark rituals, such as the sacrifices made to Moloch, that are used for maintaining direct contact with the NAA. And she calls it Negative Alien Agenda. I myself say it's for the demonic entities, like demons, who feed off of that energy. Okay? Right or wrong, I don't know. Like I said, an open mind, Moloch is one of the most important loosh harvesting systems for the NAA because it comprises the most desired form of human-based collective energy, which is sexual energy siphoned from the human's sexual organs. Moloch can be implanted as an energetic signature in those children or adults that have been exposed to sexual abuse, genital mutilation, violent sex acts in which any sexual trauma is generated in the consciousness of that person, no matter how young or old they are. Babies that are born from rape and a history of sexual abuse in the family of origin can inherit the Moloch attachment at the time of birth and carry this attachment, sentencing them to heightened sexual misery programming and sexual organ siphoning for a lifetime. Moloch is a quality of collected sexual energy that is bound to the astral plane via gestalts of negative spiritual attachments or demonic entities that are most commonly interspersed within the Baphomet collective consciousness field that is used to power up the black magic grids. This means that on planet Earth, the black magicians have a special planetary grid set up exclusively for their use in spreading satanic forces through the access of the Baphomet field during SRA practices These are sentient fields from the lowest dimensions, filled with collective human sexual energy that feeds and keeps the negative spirits. Moloch is especially coveted by an assortment of satanic forces in the NAA that intentionally promote sexual predators and violent sexual acts that perpetrate the use of victimizer software, which is to create masters and slaves, victims and victimizers. These are the main polarities required to foment the war over consciousness and reinforce beliefs of separation and division between humanity. Moloch Programming. This program usually starts during childhood and remains as an attached Moloch implant that can grow to infect the multidimensional spiritual bodies, especially through genital implants, which are holographic devices implanted by an offending entity or in order to siphon the child's sexual energy into adulthood. A child that is infected with Moloch programming will generally exhibit abnormal sexual attitudes and behaviors with other children and adults that may resemble having inappropriate sexual knowledge from being sexually abused by an adult. However, sexual behaviors in small children can also be groomed by Pavlovian classical conditioning, and sexual predators commonly use assorted grooming methods to condition the child to abuse, and so the child believes that sexual abuse is actually playtime behavior. That's disturbing, isn't it? Children with Moloch programming grow into adulthood with a high probability to continue the same negative forms of sexual abuse they themselves have suffered at the hands of an adult predator. By exchanging roles from being the child victim growing into the adult victimizer, this perpetuates the ongoing abuse cycle through the Moloch sexual energy capture program and is designed to continue to harm humanity. The early abuse programming is used to create sexual misery for the child as he or she grows into adulthood, ensuring a future with sexually incompatible partners and destructive intimate relationships that are founded upon the dark history of predatory abuse and unresolved sexual trauma. Various levels of experienced trauma that occurs during childhood abuse will exacerbate the likelihood of evolving perversions or addictions into adulthood, which feed the loosh generated by continual mental anxiety into the Moloch programming. The Moloch program directly results in perpetuation and maintenance of the mind control used in human sexual misery programming, where the child's earliest memories of sexual confusion, gender confusion, marital confusion, and potentially sexual abuse traumatizes the emotional body and therefore the soul. This propagates the same recurring patterns in co-creating abusive relationships, both interpersonal and intimate, based on the learned patterns of conditioning dysfunction and abuse prevalent in the death culture. The Moloch programming is also organized by the power elite to be a form of mind control worship to the NAA posing as gods. Oh, I get it. And is historically related to the moon chain lineage that organized Saturn blood worship. These invading groups are karmically responsible for the sexual misery programs which have stolen the knowledge of sacred marriage and perverted the practices of sacred sexuality, intentionally eradicating and attacking the possibility of achieving loving spiritual unions between the men and women of the earth. This condemned the people of Earth to gender splitting and sexual misery, not aware of the energetic balance that is required to unite men and women as equals in order to transcend the horrific suffering of the human soul. The Moloch programming used to attack sexual energy in human population is propagated through a larger organized NAA harvesting system, the NRG network. They work hard to promote states of confusion, guilt, and shame upon all matters that are related to sexuality, as well as promoting promiscuous sex with random partners in order to remain fully disconnected from feeling love and meaningful spiritual connections with sexual partners. These spiritually destructive behaviors are described in the Archonic Deception Behavior profile in the NAA strategy for humanity's mass mind control. Finally, it is to comprehend that Moloch is a soul binding to attach an assortment of satanic entities to a person's light body that is used in SRA rituals. Moloch is evoked or conjured during the satanic ritual in order to collect and disperse the human being's vital energies to specifically named demonics, the negative spirits of Satanism that are controlled by the invading forces of the Black Sun NAA groups. In situations where a person has not been subjected to SRA, when a percentage of that human being's vital forces and spiritual energies are being collected and harvested by these groups of satanic spirits, the person is high risk for further soul binding attachments that include aggressive dark manipulation and possible full body possession. See dark force manipulation methods. Archonic Deception Strategy 3, Sexual Abuse and Sexual Misery. Sexual abuse and sexual misery are preferred by the controller's Archonic Deception Strategy because it serves many purposes for torturing human beings of all ages into submission and ultimately consciousness enslavement. Okay, make sure I wasn't. The sexual energies can be stolen from the individual without their consent or awareness and used by the black magician or the sexual predator as a pain and pleasure reward system for classical conditioning, automatic impulses, and addictions that continue to carry out archonic deception behaviors into human culture. Vaginal or anal rape can yield harvested soul energies that are being siphoned during the act and consequently bound to the perpetrator, which may be human or a demonic entity that has conspired with the human and committed the act of rape. For the NAA, raping children is the most productive way to set up the siphoning of soul energy and to further create traumatic soul damage in the child. As that child grows into adulthood without addressing or spiritually healing the sexual trauma, they have a tendency to mentally and emotionally fracture, becoming an adult with dissociative, split, or narcissistic personalities. Many raped children suffer from an ongoing spiritual trauma that is generated from the soul bindings made to demonic and satanic entities that can be both human and non-human. The most common soul binding that is used in child rape and FGM and SRA is the demonic altar of Moloch. The dissatisfaction with the nature of sexuality and the dysfunctional fears that are generated within destructive sexual relations create misery, pain, and torment for many humans on earth. When sexual misery patterns are not healed and resolved, these spiritual traumas erupt into a great many mental and emotional deviations, such as unnatural perversions and fetishes, which are set up to further control human sexuality through whatever means that is ultimately harmful. Spiritually abusive behaviors and self-rejection disconnects the person from their soul, and then the great void of the inner pain grows to generate addictions. Addictive behaviors are coping mechanisms to deal with unresolved pain and trauma. Many times that trauma is seated within the sexual energy centers of the person, whom is desperate to experience relief from ongoing personal anxiety and persistent pain. In many cases, this unresolved trauma and pain creates a split personality that automatically leads into a double life or living in duplicity. The person may appear to be functioning normally or reasonably well in their day job, yet behind the scenes, when they are alone, they are addicted to some kind of deviant behavior, which is used as an outlet for the buildup of mental and emotional anxiety. This profile of person will reach a breaking point in which their personal anxiety will explode onto the surface. In some cases, reaching the breaking point has seriously violent ramifications, while others may act out their trauma without outer violence. Abraham blood covenant is Moloch. From the Guardian perspective, the Abraham blood covenant in organized religion is Moloch programming that is designed to feed the Moloch battery tanks on the astral plane. As an example, a blood covenant is made with the Antichrist forces in the name of Yahweh, who is a false alien god, and to which this transfers soul binding rights to the Moloch tank during the genital mutilation or circumcision. The blood spilled out in foreskin taken from the baby's penis marks a claim on the soul to be bound to serve the Moloch entity, which is further being organized and directed to the Yahweh Collective, an Anunnaki faction of the NAA that pose as false gods to lure humanity into servitude, binding in the afterlife. Again, keep an open mind. We don't know. Genital mutilation. Male circumcision at birth is a Moloch program promoted through religious violence, mind control. The cutting of foreskin and the bundle of nerves in that area of the penis creates dysfunction in the penis from its inherent design of being involved as the conduit of heart and soul energy that is potentially transmitted during intercourse between a male and female. From the Guardian perspective, this is genital mutilation and a spiritually harmful action. The male sex organ is designed to act as a transference rod of inner sexual vital force energy, which is part of the paired energy circuit exchanged between the male and female polarities within the human body as they are designed to unite together, whereby both partners experience energetic catalysts of sacred union with the inner spirit and ultimate creator, expanding consciousness, states of bliss, and ecstatic energies generated by the forces of love co-created between both partners. In order to disrupt this energetic circuit that unites male and female polarities within, and to interfere with the exchange of bliss experience during sexual intercourse, circumcision was introduced to sever the nerve bundle that linked the heart complex to the main sexual organ. At this time, when and if it resonates with you, we can reclaim our sexual parts as well as recognize levels of trauma that was committed to shatter our innocence, especially through interfering with the forces of love that are shared in the heart during sexual experiences. If sexual healing feels complete within, then this is an impact that can be clearly observed in the world around you, and you may be called upon to help release the Moloch programming tanks. And I might as well read the rest of it. Some suggested tools. Number 1, resign from Moloch matrix. Number 2, consecrate your genitals as holy object dedicated to the purposes of God, Christ. 3, practice conscious, loving sexual acts and be loving and appreciative of your genitals. 4, bless all children as children of God, claimed in the Christ or crystal star. 5, clear all implants or structure you become aware of. And 6, send all beings bound to Moloch and SRA to Mother Ark's Aqua Portal, set up portal for this specific reason. And it goes on to say, heartfelt gratitude for our beloved community in being open to explore this difficult topic. Even though this is very difficult material, the shift to reveal the Moloch programs and battery tanks is very optimistic in that the systems and structures of containment are being revealed so that they can be dismantled from continued use. This is extremely positive news. This is a longer-term project with reclaiming the sexual energies of humanity, so just allow this information to settle and do not feel pressurized to act. This is just for your information. If it indeed becomes relevant in your life, the mind cannot see what it does not know. And now you are made aware of the covert agenda of the Moloch programming, and so to identify it and remove it from yourself and your children. And I got this actually from Illuminati Scarface. It resonated with him, and if you watch that video, he was born into an Illuminati family and suffered satanic ritual abuse and inflicted it on others as he went through the order. So I'll leave this in the description, and like I said, leave an open, have an open mind, and just be aware. You never know, right? All right, everyone. Hope you have a great day. Thank you. Bye.